Well, Bassin Buds, today was easily my #1 score of all time when it comes to Discontinued Mann's baits. We definitely struck old school gold on this one. A few weeks ago, around the time of the Bassmaster Classic, I was perusing Instagram when I came across a post, actually I think it was a reel from my Bassin Bud Rich over at Hella Bass. Well, Rich was traveling and he happened to stop at a local Bass Pro Shops where he found, honestly, the motherlode of Discontinued Mann's soft plastic baits. All in the form of this, a 1-pound Mann's bag of worms. Well, this Bass Pro Shops was not close to me, so the first thing I did was get on the phone and talk to the folks in the fishing department. Well, good news, bad news in that regard. The good news was that they still had an insane amount of Mann's discontinued baits, mostly jelly worms, in this 1-pound bag of worms, still available for sale. Well, the bad news, they could not take a credit card over the phone or hold them, and they would not ship them. So I was left with a decision to make. I had the motherlode of soft plastic baits, baits that I love fishing, and baits that unfortunately, since Mann's went out of business, are becoming more and more hard to find. I could either go get in the old retro wagon and go get them, or always wonder what could have been. Well, if this is any indication, you guys can tell what decision I made. Needless to say, I gassed up the old 4-wheel drive sleigh, headed a crazy amount of miles, but what I found when I got there, definitely one of the greatest finds on this channel. So before we get into this episode, I do want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Rich over at Hella Bass. He's great on Instagram and he's got a phenomenal YouTube channel. So if you don't subscribe to both, definitely go ahead and give him a follow, and I'll link all his information down below in the comments section. Secondarily, you can tell I picked up a number of these baits. Look, with the market on Mann's baits going through the roof and the fact that this Bass Pro Shops wouldn't ship, I figured, hey, you know what? I better grab as many of these as I can, and that way I can share them with the Bassin Buds. So, if you follow me on eBay, you know that last night I actually posted, I think it was around over 20 listings of Mann's bulk soft plastics. As I usually do, I put those up for auction at 1 cent. And I did a 10-day auction on these guys, so it will end, I think, on a Monday night. Well, stick around to the end of the show if you want to see specifically which lots I've got up for sale, but suffice to say, 70 pounds of soft plastic Mann's baits is a pretty impressive sight.
Retro Bassin, kicking some ass and wearing rayon jackets. Thinking about Bill Dance, watching these fish prance through my Ray-Ban glasses. Ain't nothing better than 40-year-old lures coming off of Zepco 33. Out on the bass boat, making beer cans float, doing some trespassing. Fishing it old school, this old stuff rules. Welcome to Retro Bassin.
Well, we're getting close. So just stepping foot in this Bass Pro Shops, and I've got a sneaking suspicion I've been here before. In fact, it was a couple years ago and I was in the market for a new bass boat, and I saw an ad by Bill Dance, Roland Martin, and Jimmy Houston standing around the 40th anniversary of the Bass Tracker, called the Bass Tracker Heritage. Well, I think I first saw it on the showroom floor in this Bass Pro Shops, even though I eventually bought one over at Round Rock, Texas. Pretty sure the fishing section is just up ahead. Oh man, I hope they still have some of these baits left. Walking by the fish tank now. Now, all the other Bass Pro Shops in which I found Mann's baits for sale, they are in one of those discount bins. It's sort of like a 4-foot by 4-foot square island. I think that's kind of where Rich said they were in this one as well. So I'm kind of just perusing the fishing section, trying to find the bag o' worms section. And doing my best not to get distracted by anything else, because I do have a mission, and it's not this stuff. Oh. Here we are. Wow. That is a lot of Mann's soft plastic right here. That is pretty much the most glorious display of worms I think I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, thank you, Rich. I'm actually shocked that more of these are not gone. When I called the folks at Bass Pro, they told me the number that they had available still. I was kind of surprised it was that high, because I watched Rich's Instagram posts with a certain degree of panic, because I had a feeling these things were going to fly off the shelf, especially at $5 per pound. Well, it looks like they've got a pretty good bit of them left. I'm going to go through these as quickly as I can and show you guys what they've got. But I'm going to be loading up my cart with some bag of worms, because this is probably my final stop for Mann's baits. I don't know what happened in the mix where all the Mann's old stock inventory ended up at Bass Pro Shops, but it's been really sprinkled at Bass Pro Shops around the country. And I would say about 9 out of 10 Bass Pro Shops don't have any Mann's at all. But the ones that do kind of have it quarantined off in this little discount display. So of the different Bass Pro Shops that I've seen, I saw one that had a mix of some jelly worms, kind of the smaller ones, and then the crankbaits. And I found another one that had some crankbaits and some spoons. So this is the first strictly jelly worm display I've seen, and the first one I've ever seen with this thing that says bag o' worms. So this is a pretty industrial strength bag. It's actually resealable, which is glorious. And what does it say on the back? It just says 1 pound. Nothing to describe either the color or the size of these baits. Clearly, this one is one of my favorite colors, OG Blueberry. Let's open this thing up and see how big this one is. Oh, wow. So look at that. That is a, I think that's, see, it says it on the tail. That's a 9-inch jelly worm in blueberry. Oh. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, there we go. So that's the first score of the day, is the 9-inch blueberry. I'm going to go through these again as quickly as I can to give you a lay of the land. Here's another one. Looks like some sort of watermelon red flake. Oh, these are bigger. Oh yeah. 12-incher. Wait a minute. This one says 488. They're really trying to move this one. Here's yet a different color and maybe size. Oh, look at that. There's a 12-incher and a black with a chartreuse tail. That would be called the blackberry to you and me. Now, how many worms do you get? I'll have to do a count on these, but as far as the 12s, I feel like that's every bit of 40 worms. Could be more. Here's another one. Okay, so this looks like a 6-incher in a purple or a grape. Now, as far as the 6-inchers go, oh my God. I mean, there could be 100 of them in there. This one is grape or this one's tequila sunrise. I can't quite tell. Oh yeah, another grape. Here's an interesting color. Could it be? Oh, it could, and it is motor oil. So that is a 12-inch jelly worm in a motor oil color. At first I was thinking it might be root beer, but it's got that green sheen on it. I like a motor oil. It doesn't smell like motor oil, but that's a great one. That's a 12-incher, and that one's pretty full. Oh, there's another color. Look at that one. That is the red. I'm not sure what color this is. So this one is the strawberry in a 9-incher right there. I keep wanting to smell differently, but they all smell the same to me. They smell like jelly worm, but I'm kind of, you know, like Skittles. I can't really tell the difference between the yellow and the green and the white and the red. But either way, a nice pack of strawberry bag of worms. Of the 9-incher, I don't know, maybe 75 worms per. It's a lot. A lot more of these blueberries, and these are all coming with me. I love this color. Can't find it. You definitely can't find anything like this today. And I'm guessing most of these are, yeah, these all look like the 9ers. Ooh, here's a cool one, a firetail. I think this might be a grape firetail or a black firetail. And yeah, grape firetail. So there's the grape, and there is the little firetail action. And that is, of course, in the old 6-incher. So I'm getting pretty good at figuring out what size is what. Oh my goodness. Okay, this one's different. So this looks like a red shad. At first I was thinking it was a jelly worm, but it is a hard nose. Now I don't know if this is like the Dragon series, but this looks a lot like the discontinued Hank worm, which of course was the Hank Parker signature worm. But it's a little curly tail worm with a nice curly tail on it. Looks like that's about a 5-inch, 6-inch bait. And the cool part about it is this is all soft, but then this up here, that little last 1/2 inch or so, is the hard nose. And that is actually what is hard. Let's see if I can focus on it. There you go. So that's the hard part right there, which is pretty cool. That was in a red shad, hard nose, a pound of them for $5. Oh, I just see one of these. Look at that white sticking out. I know what this is. This is not a jelly worm. It is a Mann's Stingray Grub. Oh, look at that beautiful thing. Wow. This is totally a bait that I could throw for largemouth bass in some of the lakes I've been fishing as of late. And for $5, I mean, I feel like that's probably what, 100 plus Stingray Grubs? Nuts. All right, well, this is going to the bin because it's the only one. So here's another one. This looks like a different color. So this one, at first I thought it was motor oil, but if you'll focus on there, this is actually, I believe, a root beer. Super soft. Wow, that is like the softest worm I've ever felt. And that is a 12-incher for sure. Does it smell like root beer? No, it just smells like jelly worm. But that's a root beer, trust me. Which is sort of like a translucent brown. Pretty unique color, one that I like a lot. And I mean, I'm gonna grab like a lot of these, but I'm definitely grabbing this one. All right, so this one might be a straight up blackberry. Man, they just, I can't imagine how crazy it was when they were just liquidating the Mann stock. Yeah, that is a nice 6-inch blackberry. There we go. Doesn't smell like blackberry, but it's a blackberry. That's a neat little worm. And yeah, I'm gonna grab that because there's probably about 150 of them in this bag. What does that work out to per worm? I feel like that's about the best deal in the world at the moment, but these things are gonna move. There's no way this thing is gonna sit around very long. I just don't think a lot of the folks that happen to stagger into this particular Bass Pro Shops are aware of what's here, because I guarantee you, the second we post this video, whatever I don't leave is gonna get like vulture scooped up rather quickly by the Bassin Buds. I'm gonna show you one more of these. I just, you know, I can't tell you, I don't know why, but there's just something I love about an OG blue worm, especially a jelly worm. I think I heard somewhere that the first ever fish caught in a Bassmaster event was A, caught by Bill Dance, and B, it was caught on a plastic worm, not a jelly worm. It was actually a flip tail, but I believe it was a blue worm. So, you know, you walk down the aisle of Bass Pro Shops, I guarantee you any other non-discontinued worm on the peg looks nothing like this. And I'm pretty sure that any fish that I throw this in front of will not have seen a worm of this particular color in probably a few decades. Not that the bass are that old, but you get what I'm saying. So that was the blue worm and the 9er. Yeah, there's a bunch of these 9-inch blue worms. I love it. So I'm gonna grab, well, probably the vast majority of these guys. I called yesterday. I heard you guys have more of these in the back by chance. Okay. Is there a chance to look at that and see what's in there? Just different colors and such?
Yeah, scan real quick for you.
Awesome, thanks, bud. How long have these been here?
Maybe about a month.
That's it, huh? I'm surprised they haven't moved more.
Right.
Because everybody's buying the Googans. So what's the deal with Bass Pro getting all the old school Mann stuff?
So they just bought them.
So they bought Manns?
Yep.
Are they gonna reintroduce the baits, or what's the plan? Or they just get rid of everything?
So I think they're getting rid of everything at first, but we got their warehouse. So
okay.
Some of our new bio baits are similar to these in the sense that they have the same scent.
Okay.
The original jelly worm scent, we're gonna put some of that on.
Really? All right. That's interesting. Okay. I was wondering about that because but how come certain Bass Pro Shops tend to have the Mann's display and others don't? Like some have the 1-minuses. Did you guys ever get those? See, some of them have the 1-minuses, but this is the only place I've seen with the bag of worms.
Really?
I wonder why that is.
That's really weird.
Yeah. So I wonder if they're going to come back out with the jelly worm, or?
I'm not too sure. They haven't told me very much.
Probably not. Probably not. So we're heading to the back here. What's your name, man?
Jake.
Jake. So Jake is my hookup today. We're heading to the back where they've got 3 more totes of the jelly worms, as if I haven't loaded down this cart enough. Oh, man.
You don't mind waiting right here, I'll bring them out.
Oh, no worries, man. So Jake is going in the back. I'm gonna wait right here and he's gonna bring out the totes so that we can look at them, see if there's anything else to get. Man, that is pretty cool. I heard that they had some stuff in the back. I was a little bit concerned that it would sort of be a Raiders of the Lost Ark scenario where you just can't get to it. So the fact that it's accessible, that they're bringing it out for me to look at is huge. I'm really curious to see about the sizes, the colors, and the profiles. I actually found an interesting curly tail I'll show you later that I've never seen before out of Mann's catalog. Of course, found some Stingray Grubs and some of that Dragon series with the hard nose. I still think that might be a Hank worm. It's a pretty close version of it. Let's see what we got coming here. Mann's is probably going to sell more jelly worms today than they've sold in the past decade, but that's all right.
Hey, is that what they're on?
Yes, sir. Jelly worms. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. You all right?
So, Ray, you look like you fished with a jelly worm before, huh? Yeah? All right. Here we go. All right. Look at that.
All right, so these are all full.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Wow. Oh, holy smokes. So that's some different stuff, man. So now these all came from Eufaula, Alabama. Oh. So there we go. That's a little different. Look at that. Looks like this is thrown together in a rather haphazard fashion too. That's crazy. So a chartreuse Stingray Grub. That's actually kind of what I was looking for. Oh man, this is nuts. Ooh. Look at that. So they had this old bait from Hank Park called the Hank worm that they came out with. And I feel like this kind of looks like the Hank worm. It's got a hard nose on it, which is kind of cool, with a little curly tail. Dude, for a pound of them, dude, isn't that nuts? I mean, you could like never buy a worm again. So you got more of the white Stingray Grubs. Nice. So yeah, so honestly, so they must have just like boxed that factory up like over a weekend, like in a panic, because yeah, it's crazy how they just threw stuff together. Okay, another one of the Hank worms looks like in a pumpkin. Dude, this is nuts. Ooh, Hank worm or a hard nose in a June bug. All right, I can't help it. I'm gonna have to go with more of those. Okay, so look at this. This is not, I don't even know what this is, man. This is a different bait. So look at that. It is a curly tail worm. I don't even know the name of that thing. It's in a red shad. But it's not a jelly worm, it's just a worm. I mean, I like it, but it's weird. Ooh, Stingray grub and a pumpkin. Is that a pumpkin or is that like a different color? Look at that. That's like a pumpkin kinda, but wow.
Hope you catch a lot of fish.
Me too, man. Me too. This looks like something totally different. I have no idea what this is. Oh, look at that. 1 pound of the toad. Oh my gosh. Imagine how much frog fishing you could do for $5. Wow, of all the ones I found today, I have not found this one. Oh no, it is. I thought it was just a 12-inch black, but it's black with a chartreuse tail, which I like, but I've got a few of those. Another pack of the frogs. You know it's going to be like a damaging trip when the gas mileage on your car goes down on the way home from Bass Pro. Well, for about the cost of one custom swim bait, I have pretty much cleared Bass Pro Shops out of their old school inventory of worms. Yeah, that was a crazy trip. I can't tell you how scared I was that those baits were going to disappear when I got there. I really did not know what to expect when I walked into that Bass Pro Shops. I was super excited to see that they still had pretty much everything that I saw in Rich's video available for sale. And secondarily, so cool that they brought some baits out of the back for me to look at. There were definitely some hidden gems in there. So before I get to which baits we're going to put on for sale, I do want to talk about some interesting things here that I discovered sort of both at that Bass Pro Shops and when I got home. So talking to the fella in the fishing department, he mentioned that Bass Pro Shops acquired the rights to Mann's, which is pretty interesting. And if you look at the packaging here, it does say Mann's Bait Company, but the address is not Eufaula, Alabama. It is actually 2960 East Jean Street in Springfield, Missouri. Check that out. So, yes, Mann's did apparently get bought by Bass Pro Shops and relocated to Springfield. That being said, the way that they were fire sailing these bad boys and sort of the haphazard nature with which they were thrown into these bag of worms, I'm not super confident that the Mann's jelly worm will be available in the future. I would love to see that be true, but at this point, again, if this is any indication, I just didn't trust that these things will be available on the peg at your local tackle shop anytime soon. So without further ado, let's go through these bags one by one. And if you want more information, head on over to the eBay and by all means, hit me up with any questions on Messenger. So first thing I did was actually weigh all of these. So all of these are just over a pound. And if they're under a pound, I kind of put in some more worms to make sure they were over a pound. And also did a rough count on the worms and put that in the eBay listing description so that you know roughly how many of these plastics you're gonna get. So I will roll through these, I think 10 different ones pretty quick. So the first one is this, a pack of, I believe this is the 9-inch Mann's jelly worm in my favorite color, blueberry. Here is a 6-inch in a purple firetail, another 1 pound bag. And these are all definitely 1 pound plus. They're all probably more like 1, 2, 1, 3. All right, here we go with a 12-incher in a really nice watermelon red flake. Ooh, this is an interesting one. I was pretty excited when I saw this. This is the Mann's Horny Toad, I think. Another 1 pound bag, and this looks like a green pumpkin color. All right, another 12-incher. This is a blackberry with a chartreuse firetail. I told you I went nuts. Ooh, I'm gonna save this one. I'm gonna talk about that one at the end. All right, here we go. This is one of my favorite wintertime baits for bass, the Mann's Stingray Grub in a really cool color. I would almost describe this as a shrimp, but really cool one. All right, so we got 2 more before I get to the secret bait. First one is this one. This is a 6-inch jelly worm in a blackberry. Great color. And man, there are a ton of worms in here. I think well over 100, if I recall. And this one, a 6-inch in the grape. Also the jelly worm, by the way. Now the last one. Oh, this was exciting. A while back, I had purchased some Hank's worms, which is, of course, a Hank Parker signature worm for Mann's. They're actually pretty expensive on eBay, and they're kind of hard to come by, so I've been pretty scared to fish them. Well, I found something that I thought resembled a Hank worm, and in fact, it 100% is a Hank worm. I put this side by side with my Hank worms, and yes, your eyes don't deceive you. This is a 1 pound bulk pack of Hank worm in a red shad. All right, guys, we'll head on over to eBay to check out those listings. And if you're looking for some more old school content, you can click right here. Otherwise, I'll see you right back here. Until then, keep that carpet side up and definitely fish it old school.
Fishing it old school, this old stuff rules. Welcome to Retro Bassin.